Trump is now hinting, once again, at a third-party run. The GOP presidential candidate addressed the option earlier today on Live with Kelly and Michael.
Would you consider to run as the third-party candidate?
Well, let me tell you, first of all, I don't want to do that. I'm leading in the polls by not a little bit, like by 20 and 21 points. A poll just came out. I'm leading in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Nevada, Texas. I'm leading in Florida against two people. One was a governor, one was a senator. I'm leading every single poll, and nationwide, I'm leading in every one of them. So obviously, I'm very happy where I am. The people, the Republican Party has been, the people have been phenomenal. The party, I'll let you know about that. And if I don't get treated fairly, I would certainly consider that.
Editor-in-chief of The Hill, Bob Cusack, joins us from Washington. What is this whole thing about being treated fairly? What does he mean by that?
Well, I think that Trump fears that the party is going to try to torpedo his chances as he gets closer and closer to the nomination. A lot of Republicans in Washington have felt like Trump is just going to implode at some point. Well, we're in December now. He's been dominating the polls, as he repeatedly points out. And I think that he's always having that option that if the party, if the Republican National Committee is either publicly or privately doing something to go after him, well, he might run as a third party.
Okay, so we're taking a look at the national poll numbers. That poll conducted before Trump came out and said we should ban all Muslims from entering the United States. He also said on Kelly Michael that he's leading in every poll. Not exactly accurate. There are polls that show, depending on which day it is and which month and which state you're looking at, other candidates leading in the polls.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, Contessa, that he released his, remember, this was not an interview that he did as far as his new Muslim policy. It was a release from his campaign that came just hours after a poll showed that Ted Cruz is now winning Iowa. So you're right, Trump is doing well, but he's not winning every poll, and certainly Carson overtook him a little while back. Now Carson has fallen back, but Ted Cruz is I think, one of his main concerns, as well as Marco Rubio.
Well, Ted Cruz refused to really hit the, I mean, here he was teed up. He's a constitutional scholar, and he refused to hit the ball out of the park when it came to questions about whether Trump's proposal is constitutional. Why do you think he did that?
He has kind of an alliance with Donald Trump. He's not gone after Trump like the other GOP rivals, and Ted Cruz thinks that eventually Trump supporters are going to go to him. Cruz has picked up some support from prior Carson backers. So I think that he thinks, well, listen, as Trump says, you know, a lot of the Republicans who've gone after Trump, Trump has counterpunched, whether that's Rand Paul or Jeb Bush, and Trump has taken them on one-on-one and done very well. Cruz has decided to adopt a different strategy, and I think it's working.
All right, I want to turn to the Democrats now, who suffer from lack of attention because of all the shenanigans on the other side. When we're looking at Hillary Clinton, she has a jam-packed, very ambitious schedule on the campaign trail. Why?
Well, remember, Contessa, she finished third in the 2008 Iowa caucus behind John Edwards and Barack Obama. So Iowa is very important for her. She has a big national lead, but Iowa, it is tight, and certainly New Hampshire, which is a neighboring state for Bernie Sanders in Vermont, there is a chance that Sanders could win Iowa and New Hampshire. And I think that's his only shot to change the whole dynamic of the race, because when it goes to South Carolina and beyond, Hillary Clinton has massive lead. So she's looking to knock out Bernie Sanders. She had a rough summer. She's had a very good fall, very good in the debates. Sanders has lost some momentum. So she wants to capitalize on that, and that would mean winning Iowa, maybe losing New Hampshire a close second, and then dominating the rest. So I think that she just doesn't want to lose those first two contests.
But if she's hoping for an Iowa win to knock out Bernie Sanders, isn't she going to be disappointed after all? He's unlikely to drop out, even if she wins Iowa, because he's leading in polls in New Hampshire. He's got strong support. He's the senator from the neighboring state. And New Hampshire folks, I know from being from New England myself, much like Vermonters, consider themselves very independent. They don't mind that someone is not as famous or doesn't have as much money or maybe proposing things that are not quite mainstream.
Yeah, no, that's right. And usually Iowa and New Hampshire, they think differently and they vote differently. So I don't think that Bernie Sanders would necessarily get out of the race, but it would be seen as a big blow to his chances should he lose Iowa. And we've talked to some Democratic strategists who say he must win Iowa and New Hampshire to have any shot because Hillary Clinton is so well organized. But I do think that Sanders would continue certainly his candidacy. He's done very well in this race. Nobody really had heard of Bernie Sanders, and now he's very popular, especially with millennials. So, but he hasn't gone after Hillary Clinton only on policies, and some have questioned whether his strategy on whether he should go after her harder on the email controversy. He has opted not to. Hillary Clinton is clearly the front runner, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Bob Cusack, it's a real pleasure to talk with you. Thanks.
Thanks, Contessa.